Ich würde sagen, wir steppen jetzt rein und gucken uns 5 Styling-Tipps to improve your personal style an von Tuba Avalon.
Hello, welcome back to my huge channel, everybody. Today we have an amazing day because we're going to talk about stuff we never talked before. And it's about tweaking your personal style.
Okay.
I know we talked about trends, personal style, designers, runways, reviews, everything.
Ja, Führer können wir direkt zusammen gucken, ne? Nicht später.
On this channel. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to how you style your personal looks on a day-to-day basis. And this is something I personally struggle with the most. It is how to
Offener Kleiderschrank sieht immer Katastrophe aus. Wenn du Mode liebst, mach Schranktüren.
elevate my daily looks that kind of turn into some sort of uniform after a while because I keep repeating my looks all the time. And it is very good to have like 1 or 2 little tweaks in your pocket when it comes to elevating your personal style, or not just only elevating, but just making it a bit more exciting for yourself. I hate to be bored by my own look. I really don't care what anybody else thinks. It's just about how you yourself can feel a bit more excited in what you wear and how you can achieve that without buying any new clothes. Because usually, let's be honest, we get the most excited when something is new, if it's secondhand or from a retailer or whatever. It always needs to be connected to a purchase. And today's video is how we can achieve a little more excitement, a bit dopamine, you know, we need those endorphins coming up without purchasing. There are a few things I just figured during my life of speaking about fashion or wearing fashion that a lot of people ask me, like, okay, how do you style your stuff? Because styling is for me one of the most important things when it comes to fashion.
Details, immer Details. Ob es kleine Details an den Produkten sind, neue Farben, neue Cuts, ein bisschen was ausprobieren.
Actually, it's the essence of
Accessoires.
fashion. It's how you combine things. And sometimes these are things that are so minimal, so minor, that you might not even recognize somebody wearing it. But if you do it in your own look, it can be life-changing in terms of how you feel in this look. And I have, I think, like 5 or 6 tips that I can share with you. Some of them are currently very popular as well. Some of them are inspired from runways. I have to say, every inspiration I have, of course, I can't deny that people don't inspire me, but I'm mainly always inspired by the runway. Like, the runway just serves so much opportunity to many looks because every designer...
Ja, und weil es outrageous ist im Vergleich zu das, was im Alltag so ist. Sind ja Stylisten am Werk, da wird ja nochmal probiert, das Ganze zu elevaten und so weiter und so fort. Und deswegen kann ein Runway auch immer super inspirieren. Aber ich kann euch sagen, klar, Runways, Designer und wie die da stylen und Stylisten inspirieren mich, aber am meisten inspirieren mich stylische Frauen. Am meisten, mit Abstand. Mit Abstand, das sage ich ja schon seit Jahren, stylische Frauen inspirieren mich immer am meisten. Und halt auch schon teilweise manche seit Jahren.
Guys creating like 60 styled looks every season. There's just so much you can get inspired by that usually you do not need a personality or anything to get inspired by. So I would really encourage you, check your runways. Old and new, everything. And today we have stuff that is inspired by the current menswear season because, as you might know, 2 weeks ago, Fashion Week just ended, so Men's Week ended, and I had the chance to see a lot of shows as well. I'm currently working on the edits of my vlog and of the interviews I could have with the designers, and it was amazing. And this video we will see next week because it's a lot of coverage. So this is a bit like a pre-taste of what kind of style we saw on the runway, but also a lot of older looks, so that you also might be interested in. To be very honest, if we look at all the trends come and go, there's usually still our personal core aesthetic that never leaves. It always stays. No matter what trends we like and start to dislike after a period of time, that core aesthetic still remains, and that is our personal style. So you need to tweak, and these little tweaks are actually some sort of the little steps to your personal development as well. So overall, a look is dependent of form, structure, texture, silhouette, and quality. And there are a few things about this that you cannot change when you only want to improve your styling because you don't want to buy new pieces as well. This means you might have had bad quality purchases that you still have, but that doesn't mean that you cannot wear them at all anymore. But one thing that you can improve drastically is silhouette and form. So you cannot really change the textures that you have of the fabrics, you cannot really change the quality, but you can change silhouette volume, and form, because these are structural things and really just dependent on the fabrics that you have, and you can change those forms with the way you style these garments. We will talk about it. It will be amazing. So let's get into the styling tips. As per usual, before I start to dig into this video, I do have a Patreon where you can support me. My Patreon is kind of the motor of my YouTube channel. So if you want me to be able to continue doing videos here, please feel free to join the Patreon. I also have a bit more personal videos there where I share a bit more my random and very free thoughts and also share my personal looks a bit more. So you might find that interesting.
Ja, wenn du fett bist, kannst du die Leute kommentieren. Bro, you gotta work out. You gotta work out.
We have a Discord server that is amazing with the best people in the fashion community, I believe. The kindest people, the most creative people. We're a lot of people as well. So we have
Ich bin auch da, nebenbei. Aber ihr könnt auch gerne zu meinem Discord kommen. Ja? Da machen wir LPUs, Fashion Quiz und so weiter und so fort in der Zukunft. Und ihr könnt mir natürlich dort auch einfach Fragen stellen bei Ask Kelly und ich beantworte die euch, sei es jetzt Modefragen, Produktfragen, sonst irgendwas. Ihr könnt auch What did I wear today posten und so weiter und so fort. Checkt es einfach ab.
About fashion and styling and current trends that are popping up and current shoes, the newest stuff, the oldest stuff, archive topics, everything. So I feel very much at home there, and I think a lot of other people as well. Join the Discord server if you want to be up to date concerning every fashion topic. And of course, subscribe to this channel, because I always forget to tell you guys you can actually subscribe to this.
It's for free. It's for free.
Oh, I know. It's insane. So don't forget to join Patreon, subscribe to YouTube, the Discord server, find your second family, leave your biological family, join the Discord server. You will be happy, believe me. We're the kindest sect out there. We are the best sect out there. So let's talk about the first styling trick. And I call it trick because it's kind of a trick. And I call it my favorite because I've already done it and you can see it on Instagram and a lot of people will weird it out, especially on the streets. So beware that some styling tricks can be so minimal that nobody recognizes them. And you might even say like, Shuba, thank you for nothing because this is something I've been doing all along. That is great. That means you're on the right track and you have sensitivity for like minor influences of different forms and whatever. But there are people that are also not so sensitive, so it's cool for them to know about it. And then there are some looks where you just might say, this looks absolutely ridiculous. This is not a styling trick. This is just like, hey, I want to create something weird. It's not. And also being weird is also currently the best you can do because the norm is pretty scary right now. So what I'm talking about are tanks or tank tops or whatever over shirts. And this might sound very simple and easy, but it's not. It's revolutionizing for me and bringing an absolutely new silhouette to the game that I have not been able to recognize apparently, because this styling trick exists for a pretty long time already. So I know I said my inspo is the men's week for this video, but this is something I saw on the Raw Fall 2022 lookbook the very first time, and I fell absolutely in love with it. But we have seen it at the Het Mina show, Spring Summer 2018 already. Another look styled by, of course, Lotta Volkova for Dazed Winter Edition 2015-16.
Lotta war auf jeden Fall Vorreiterin von vielen Sachen, aber auch so Margiela era
expired. It's a bit of a different form, like with a negligee-like top, but it just proves that some people just always are ahead. And Lotta Volkova.
Der Fit ist so trash. Aber das ist ja das wofür Lotta Volkova viel, also wir schon, das ist ja dieses Euro-Trash, aber adaptiert auf Russisch.
The current stylist of the Miu Miu runways, just proves that she knew it all along. And I was not aware of this. And I just feel like, I know it can look pretty drastic and you might think like, okay, it doesn't work. Like you cannot have a heavy fabric underneath and then like this very light something on top of it. But I just think
it's nicht meine aesthetic.
A beautiful emphasis on the structure beneath because it's kind of being squeezed in it. But what I like...
Tuba ist aus Düsseldorf und hat aber türkische Wurzeln, also deutsch-türkische Wurzeln.
About the structural change of wearing a tank top over a shirt is you have this big oversized blazer or wool sweater or whatever. I think I wore a long sleeve with a tank top back then. And then suddenly you wrap this tank top over your look and it has kind of the effect of wearing a shield. To me, it kind of turns the look into an armored shield and it's giving even some militarian vibes.
Hast du mal überlegt, auf Englisch zu machen? Ja, to be honest, habe ich. Ich habe auch überlegt, auf TikTok auf Englisch zu machen. Könnt ihr mal auch mir gerne beraten. Ich versuche auf jeden Fall TikTok zu beleben.
It's just a completely new structure. It's very elevated in my opinion. It is bringing an absolutely different angle and view and perspective to the blazer as you had it, or the clothes that you're wearing underneath. And the fact that the look is being like scrunched together is turning the piece into a completely new piece that you would not be able to recognize if you would see it just the styled way. I think it's very elevated. I think it's very futuristic. I think it's beautiful. It's not being done enough. And I think that's a pretty extreme form of daily styling maybe, but it can definitely increase the level of personality you have in a look instead of just wearing the tank top underneath and your blazer on top and the pants underneath, what you wear kind of every day, and me too. I just love this mind shift of layering absolutely in the opposite way. And I think it's refreshing and new, and it looks exciting, and it brings new structure and form, as I said, to a look. It's beautiful. I love it. Another styling trick that I absolutely love, and you might make fun of me because this is as old as mankind, but I also feel like with the current like college core coming also from Prada and Miu Miu, I would say it's the new sophistication that we have, because actually it is not a sophisticated look what we see right now on the runways, but it's a play with sophistication. I think
Das ist so Jugend-sophisticated, also wirklich eher in der Richtung von I'm that surfer guy at my private uni, I'm that guy that smokes weed at my private uni, that type energy.
Even more interesting than what we used to see like in the 2000s, because that was a bit more serious. It was playful back then, but it was way more subtle. But this is a different story, like the early Prada days. But what we see right now is way more playful, way more eclectic when it comes to the styling. Anyway, I think this is inspired by surf core, skates core, I don't know, all these cores that we had in the 2000s up to 2010s. But it's just having white long sleeves and something shorter on top of it. And to be very honest, my main inspiration here is the personal style of Stefano Pilati. You might know him. He was the creative director of Yves Saint Laurent, a very influential time, to me one of
Sehr, sehr stylisch. Der ist auch für Louis gelaufen in dieser ganz geisteskranken
the
Jacke.
best days of Yves Saint Laurent actually, and I think it's a bit underrated currently. Eddie Slimane didn't change everything in the world, so Stefano Pilati was amazing. He was later creative director or artistic director at Zegna, and made Zegna actually kind of cool and interesting, because as you might know, Zegna has amazing fabrics and pieces actually, but he really brought the personal style into it, and the runways were really good. So I really like Stefano Pilati. He's also the owner of the brand Random Identity, so that's his brand.
Sehr guter Call, auch als Brand Random Identity, falls ihr mal coole, interessante Pieces haben wollt für etwas günstigeres Geld.
Project. It's a very interesting brand as well. We will see that in my Fashion Week video, because you can find the pieces at Dover Street Market, and we had a close-up look to the things. And to be honest, I really like Random Identities. It's very interesting, I think, especially for men's, because it's a purely menswear brand kind of, but it's very fusible. So I wouldn't I actually consider it a menswear brand, but it's very interesting, especially if you're kind of bored with the two classical silhouettes, because it's very classical silhouettes, but kind of improved. Whatever. That's the story of Stefano Pilati. I really enjoy his personal style. To me, personally, he's one of the best dressed people out there concerning personal style, because it's never dressy. It's very much him. I think he's the pro in layering. There are not many people that are so good when it comes to layering. Anyway, he has this iconic look, and he was wearing it a lot on the runways. You know, when the designer's running out quick and just saying bye, I always have to think of iconic Jonathan Anderson with his I'm dying, I just want...
Der Bro dort sieht, er hat einfach keinen Schlaf bekommen in den letzten Wochen. Die Show musste done werden. Die Show musste gut werden. Und er hat alles in dieser Show gelassen, was er noch übrig hatte. You can see that in his face.
I'm dying, I just want to leave looks. I think you can make your look a bit more sporty and bring another layer to it. I really like it. I do think it is kind of turning your look a bit more sophisticated as well, because it is a bit more elevated with another fabric underneath. You can also do it with a button-up shirt. That's also pretty interesting. Not to wear like, because usually when you have a button-up shirt, you wear like a sweater over it, but you can also wear a t-shirt over it, and that's also increasing like this layer.
Das ist das nicht Christina? Ich habe ihren Nachnamen vergessen. Die hat auch für Virgil viel gestylt. Und Vogue Australia hat sie gemacht.
I think overall, I mean, this is maybe a bit closely related also to the tank top over sweaters thing. So we're kind of breaking it down to the layers today. But this is so beautiful. It looks youthful, because to me it's truly inspired by like very youthful sportswear. But also if you wear it in a more elegant way, if you wear like wool pants, or if you wear like nice shoes underneath, and then you have this, it's kind of more dressed than a t-shirt. A purely t-shirt would maybe look even more elegant, because it's just very minimal. But come on, like, we don't want to dress minimal anymore. To be honest, I think the worst thing of the 2000s, like 2010s and after, is that we crave minimalism so much. I don't think it's helping anybody, and I don't like that people are dictating around that you're only elegant when you wear like minimal shades, minimal colors and cuts. That's not the case. Like, you're a true genius if you know about patterns, if you know about colors and silhouettes. Then you're a genius, then you dress well. Just reflect your personal style. That's the most important thing. Another styling trick that I truly love and personally
Christina Aguilera, ja klar. So, warte mal, ich guck mal kurz. Wie hieß sie denn wirklich? Christine Centenera, so heißt die gute Dame. Legende.
With, because it's not so easy and it really depends on the structures of your pieces that you have, is tucking in your blazer. This sounds weird, and I see way more terrible versions of people having this style than good versions, but it can really bring your look to an absolutely new level, and not like upgrading level. It's just like a different level of intensity, of playful form and structure, because the moment you tuck in your blazer, it's kind of turning into a shirt, because that's how you would wear a shirt. But you still have your shoulders, and the fabric is way thicker, so you cannot do it with, of course, like your super thick blazers. But if you have a thinner one, it can look so nice, especially if you wear it with like shorts. We saw it on the Prada women's runways. It looked amazing. It was, of course, a set as well, and the blazer was also kind of tailored to be able to be fitted in. There were some editorials. I hope I will be able to find it, because you remember the Y Project and
Canada
Goose collaboration, in my opinion,
Krass,
one of
habe ich
the
nicht
best
mehr dran gedacht.
collaborations that ever happened in the universe of fashion, and especially Canada Goose. They had one windbreaker, and they tucked in the windbreaker into the jeans, and this turned the windbreaker to a completely different level, and it's not meant to be tucked inside.
Y Project zu goated.
And that's what makes it kind of
Ich wünschte, die würden mehr Pants machen und weniger Jeans.
As well, because it's not supposed to be tucked in, but you just tuck it in. I think that's something we can do a bit more often as well. Of course, you need to have a fitting pant and a fitting blazer, but you can create a completely new silhouette that you didn't have before. So, okay, we have the oversized blazers since 10 years, but we got it. I love my oversized blazers, but also sometimes I'm just like, I get it. I want something fresh. I want something new. And a way to like reuse your oversized blazer that you have is kind of like to tuck it inside something, and then it's interesting and new and fresh. So tuck in everything that you can, actually. Tuck it in. Tuck it in. Another
tuck it in, man.
I truly love, and I think we're already in the era of cardigans. Like, I'm wearing cardigans. This means we're in the era of cardigans. No. But like, cardigans are super relevant, especially due to many brands that showed it on the runways. And the last men's week, there was also the Prada Spring/Summer 25 collection, and we saw that they used tiny cardigans and big shirts underneath. I think that was very interesting to play with forms and the silhouette, because we don't see it so often. Like, usually the cardigan is kind of adapting to the shirt underneath. Usually it's even covering it. Usually you don't even see the arms or whatever. And we're now in teeny tiny cardigan season.
Ich bin ja nicht so der große Fan von dem Shrink-Look. Wäre das jetzt so hochgeschoben, aber das ist ja Shrink. Das ist ja hier, das ganze Stück ist ja gone.
Like the Bolero ones, but I think this format is kind of a good format to be like small. Wearing like a bigger shirt, but also not too big, because it needs to be short, kind of everything. I really enjoyed this styling, and this is something I mean, if it of course existed before as well. But I really enjoyed seeing that, and especially on men's, because I think it's a new form. And men's looks usually are
Nee, Bottega hatte das ja auch, und da war ich auch nicht so ein Fan von. Ich glaube, Blazys erste Kollektion.
It's a bit more conservative, whatever it is, except for like certain brands that are famous to be like very different. But that's also not usually your day-to-day wear. I think it's interesting, especially for men's, if you have like usually your normal clothes, to wear like a tinier cardigan and have a bigger shirt underneath. I think it breaks the seriousness of your shirt as well. It also
Shoutout an Piet Alaya. Finde ich nice. Finde ich gut.
Emphasizes the existence of the cardigan, because it's a bit more like in the middle of the look, and it's not like just a cover up, because usually it really just looks like outerwear kind of. Tiny shirt, tinier cardigan on top of each other. Cute. Another thing we have since ages, like literally since ages, hundreds, no, I don't know, since the 90s or 2000s, is of course a double collar. We've seen it everywhere. I think the most modern interpretation and the brand that has like the ID on it is for me Y Project with Glenn Martin.
Ja, das macht ja auch Ola Kala mit den Double Colors, hatten wir ja vorhin gesehen.
Because it's like one single polo shirt, but then they're adapted like 2 or 3 different colors. And this Men's Week overall was, to me, if you have to really reduce it to what it was, the focus of the styling was definitely collars and belts. Like that was the main focus. That was where the party was going on. It was the color combinations and the different size of belts, because I feel like we have so many new options in belts for men's now. Another designer that really pushed it this season at London Fashion Week was Craig Green. Craig Green is one of my favorite menswear designers. I don't know what is going on in his head, but it's beautiful and it's amazing. I still feel like he's way too underrated. Check out his collections throughout the years. It's incredible. And I think this Spring Summer 25 collection is probably one of his best I've ever seen. It was insane. I will not go into the details. I also felt like there was maybe some Nicolas Ghesquière inspiration, so maybe that's why I like this collection so much. But it was definitely very much Craig Green DNA. He also had a double colors. This is also something I recognized in his looks and stylings, because he had a lot of multiple things. You might also know the multiple belts that he used. As I said, it was collars and belts, guys. It was literally collars and belts. Forget about everything else this season. It's still the flat sneakers. Like, everybody's still doing it. Prada's still doing flat sneakers. Like, don't think too much about your shoes. But it will be collars and belts. But what I also really like is having like something like a polo shirt and then a different textured something with the same kind of color over it. So I would probably not combine two polo shirts, even though you can do that. But I do like wearing a polo shirt and then like a sweater that has a polo color as well, and then over it. I think that's fun. It's playful. So people might still find it weird, which is amazing. Again, it's our only goal. Personally, if you emphasize this area, you really don't have to emphasize anything else. You don't need two parties. Usually one party is enough in a look. So look into your closet. I'm sure you have some old daddy style, secondhand, thrifted stuff. Just wear them over each other. It looks super cute. And you know what? You can even wear a long sleeve white underneath, and then it's a quadruple look. And also, for example, the Junya Watanabe show that I was able, and I will share this in my other video, but it was truly a very emotional moment for me to see a Junya Watanabe show live, because Junya Watanabe is, for me personally, the most inspirational brand and designer of the Comme des Garçons family, so it was very intense. There, for example, I just figured immediately that it was of course focused like on suiting the collection, which is amazing.
Kommt die Lore Cape auch als Beanie?
For me, because I love tailoring and suits, but also like every model, I think there were just 2 or 3 looks with a t-shirt, had a collar, so it was always a shirt. I think you can do a pretty game with double collars of different textures, in my opinion. So coming to the last styling trick, which is not so good, because it's actually not so much of a styling trick, I figured, but it's also something I saw on the runways, and we saw it at Hermès, we saw that.
Aber Beanies kommen jetzt noch nicht. Beanies kommen erst später.
Van Noten, his last collection. I saw it there and I just figured, okay, this is something I've never been doing, and I was very much against it always. But so now that I'm learning to use colors, I think I'm improving. It's the usage of soft pink.
Soft pink is gut.
And I'm sure you have either a white t-shirt that you washed in the wrong way, or maybe you do have something with soft pink, so I really don't want to encourage you to purchase something, but it looked so good. And
aber das ist nicht soft. Ach doch, die Hose war soft pink.
Wow, this looks so good, especially on men's, I think, because it's still, unfortunately...
Ja, die Jacke, der gute Dries.
Of men's not being supposed to wear pink. I know pink actually is a color of masculinity, but times have changed and now we don't see it anymore. But no, we saw it on the runways and I thought it was so beautiful. It's such a hopeful color, like this dusty rosé pink tone, and I thought this is actually a very good alternative to the usual white that we're wearing as well. There's a lot of white going on, especially in the summer. Too much white, too many people in white t-shirts. I don't enjoy white t-shirts.
Ich auch nicht. Vielleicht ist das die Lösung für mich. Ich enjoy weiße T-Shirts gar nicht so sehr, aber vielleicht ist es einfach soft pink.
There are moments where a white t-shirt is okay, but usually I always feel like it's a bit too blank.
Es ist zu clean, es ist zu, ich mach's gleich dreckig.
Something on it. I always feel like it's unlayered. And maybe it needs to be like this. I don't know, but I have an issue with it. So you can choose to go maybe in the soft pink. I think it's very soft, but it's also very minimal. And it has this extreme positive energy. I'm so sorry, but is there any human being out there that is not being affected by seeing a soft pink tone? A powdery, it needs to be very powdery. Maybe a bit more cold than warm toned. I think we can implement a bit more soft pink, whatever it is. into our wardrobes and not be so scared of it anymore. Yeah, seeing it styled on the runways, especially on men's, made me really hopeful and was like, oh my god, yes. You can be true to yourself, you can stay true to your personality and your personal aesthetic and still include some soft pink. Don't be this person that is filtering everything like just to like certain things and you have very strict rules. Never have too strict rules. Include some soft pink this summer. I think it will really help everybody a bit. We will all feel a bit better seeing soft pink. So these were my styling tricks. I know it's not revolutionary, but it's really for me the tiny like changes here and there that can really change a look still and make it a bit more interesting.
Also das Ding ist, ich hätte jetzt so Accessoires gesagt, so, dass klar gibt es da so Styling-Tricks, dies und jenes, aber war jetzt nichts für mich dabei, wo ich sage so, ja Mann. Aber trotzdem, lasst Liebe bei Tuba da und gebt dem Video einen Daumen nach oben. Appreciate it. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao.